So the idea for this film came about quite a few years ago now. It was all the way back in the COVID years, I think. And I just really wanted to tell a story about human isolation and the kind of human condition, and kind of explore that really. But I wanted to do it in a way that felt kind of interesting and not too kind of relevant to what was going on at the time. It's been on and off over the years, kind of tweaking the story, kind of working out thematically what it should explore, how it should explore it, and then, well, here we are today. And we just do another little sigh of, oh, there we go, that would do for that one. Thank you very much. Okay, there's another one. Okay, guys. Cameras everywhere. Which one even was that? Oh, that's this. At the start of the third shoot day, we were grabbing some exteriors of what is the facility in the film, which isn't actually the exterior of the main fort itself. So we got access to a building out the back, and it's closed off to the public. It's condemned. No one ever goes back there. So it was just kind of as soon as we went, kind of through these tunnels out the back of the fort that then led us to where these kind of like brutalist style towers were. Just kind of seeing them up close and be like, oh my god, like this is where the story is set. It just felt really weird. It felt like you'd walked into like a sci-fi film. It was just bizarre to be like, I can't believe this is where we're shooting. And then it was a beautiful sunny day as well, and it was just, to see it come to life was exciting enough, but to see it kind of come to life at the scale it's at was I think quite surreal in a way. Because we had such wonderful locations. Landguard Fort being the main home of the film, the Unicore facility, the astronaut and Anne find themselves at, because it's such an interesting building because it's got so many hundreds of years of history behind it. And as a result, it's this kind of amalgamation of all these different eras and kind of architecture styles. So as a canvas to kind of paint the film onto, there's just so much you can do with it. So I think it was really rewarding to have that space, and to be able to kind of really kind of be free, be loose with what we were able to do there. And I think that really helped the story.
There was this point where we went down into the tunnels, and I'd carried the camera with me. I plonked it down, and Noah was fiddling around with some of the set stuff kind of down this lengthy corridor. And I turned the camera on the tripod, hadn't even framed a shot, hadn't moved anything. And I just looked at it and I went, wow. Not on my own work, because it hadn't been any work. It was, I'd literally put the camera on the floor, on the tripod. But there was that kind of moment of, this is it, that we all kind of, the few of us that were in the surrounding area felt about the set and about the film.
The fort was a really cool set to film in, and we had like the whole space to roam around and choose where to film, and I just thought it was like a really unique and also really beautiful set, and it just juxtaposed really nicely with the sci-fi elements of it and the futuristic elements of it. So that was my favourite part, was the set.
I'm influenced by a lot of things, but I think this film particularly, I'm a huge David Lynch fan. I kind of first started watching his films around the time when I first kind of started writing the script, and I was just kind of so stricken, by these kind of worlds he creates, and his sound as well, which I think is a really important part of his films that often gets overlooked. So that's been a massive influence on this. It was very important that you had a soundtrack that created a kind of sense of unease as much as the images did. So yeah, Lynch's work was, hugely influential in that regard. So the character of the astronaut was portrayed by a really old good friend of mine, Ethan, and I've been working with him
on this film since I kind of first came up with the idea. So we've attempted to make quite a few versions of the film over the years, just as kind of testers, but it's never quite been the right time, whether it was a case of, the script wasn't in place, or, the technical aspects weren't quite working out, or location and such. So yeah, he's been such a key part of this journey, and he's really embodied the character of the astronaut. Having kind of really played him over the course of 4 years. He's got the kind of physicality of him nailed down, which is such a key part, because he needs to move with a kind of certain weight, so you get that sense of who he is under there and how he's feeling.
And yeah, I don't know if it's just because it's like uncomfortable, but the kind of slight wobbling you've got with like taking deep breaths is actually really nice.
Oh.
There was always just this indescribable charm. It's different in a good way, of course. I've been thinking about, I have thought about this during the process, but I can't quite put my finger on it. I think the closest I got was the whole concept of telling a story with a completely emotionless, facially emotionless and mute lead and robotic, I don't suppose the sidekick isn't the word, but robotic side character. And I think the kind of dialogue and conversation in a less literal sense that goes on between the two really is what drew me in. There was this kind of narrative base in a more experimental way, and that I think was key for me.
I think one of my favorite aspects of the film, and this was something that kind of hasn't changed at all since day one, since the kind of idea came up in my head, was that I never wanted the astronaut to talk, because I feel that with dialogue, as useful as it is, and as beautiful as it can be, for me personally, and for what I wanted the story to be about, I thought it was far more interesting to explore the idea of human connection if we're slightly disconnected from the human, because not only does he not talk, but we don't physically see him either. Which I suppose is what's kind of odd and interesting about the film, is that the machine is the one that does all the talking, but then she's also kind of the inanimate object, but she has that personality to her. But that was always a key thing to me, to kind of get that balance right, because thematically, the relationship between the astronaut and Anne is what the whole film is about. It's what it all relies on. So to kind of get the contrast between them, it had to be right.
I thought it was quite an interesting project when we read the script in class. The character of Anne seemed quite fun and playful, and just reading it, I really enjoyed just reading the script, but also just reading all parts of Anne. So I guess kind of Anne drew me to the project.
I know you have people you'd rather be with, but how you feel about not being able to be with them. That's how I'll feel about you.
When we were doing the scripting for this, I thought it was like a really interesting kind of subject matter, the idea of AI versus humanity was really interesting to me, and AI is something that's becoming more prevalent in everyday life. So I think it's a really it's a topic that's on the button, definitely. I think that's what drew me to it. I thought it was really interesting.
So I worked really closely with Erin, who voices Anne in the film, who's just such a wonderfully talented and lovely person, which is why I remember during kind of our initial rehearsals we did, as soon as she kind of became the character of Anne, I'd felt immediately like, oh my God, because it was such a stark contrast from who she is as a person, just to hear her become this kind of cold, manipulative machine. It was That was really cool. But no, it was. I think being able to work with her, and I think she really crafted the character of Anne as much as we kind of did on set and during the scripting process, because she had a lot of insight into what would be the kind of most authentic way to portray her. Because Anne is quite a complex character because she goes through a lot of emotions, and I think it's important that you should never judge your characters in a film you're making, which obviously with Anne is quite difficult not to do. But she really saw a whole other side of that character, and just opened up a whole new layer of meaning to it.
You need time. I understand that. If you need anything, I'm here.
Collaboration is obviously such a huge part of the filmmaking process. It's so important, and once again, because it's a story that's been with me personally for a while, to kind of open it up to people and to kind of share it, I think was really nice, because then you also get other people's input. And I think over from pre-production to the actual shoot itself, people really helped influence what the story was about and kind of how we went about approaching it in ways that I wouldn't have thought of myself. So I think that was a really gratifying part of the process for me.
Noah, so tell me why you made the executive decision to take the helmet off of Ethan at this given moment in time as we're setting up.
Because laying down with the helmet on is very painful for Ethan's neck.
Do you agree, Ethan? Was it painful?
I love my director. He is not paying me to say this.
Okay, love it. I love it.
Being a director is quite a stressful and kind of hard role in itself. So when I saw, sometimes Noah would stress out and stuff, we all kind of tried to help him in any way we could and, just ask him, what he needed and stuff. So I hope that our role kind of, helped take the stress off of him at least a little bit.
It was fun. We had a good cast and crew that he'd selected. It was fun. He was pretty laid back, but knew what shots he wanted to get, I think. And I don't know. He was just going for it, just steamrolling through, getting everything as much as he could in a day. And I don't know. It was a fun set. Cultivated a fun set and a fun environment to work on, I think.
Not against this wall. Or do you want against this wall?
Maybe against that wall.
3 minutes, Noah.
3 minutes.
What? Until Sharon Ann.
Oh yeah, she will like that within the span of
She's
5
just messaged me saying, hope it's going well.
She's already seen it. Fucking hell. What is she doing? My mum is watching this. This is a video. I'm seeing this video. My mum is watching this. Please excuse my French. You don't have a social media problem. Actually, you do. Intervention. Anyway.
Give it 5 and we'll have the rose like as well.
There we go.
So most of my cinematography, as I was one of 3 cinematographers on the film, happened during the internal scenes, and there was one scene we shot externally, and I think a big part of my cinematography, kind of minor things like focus pulls aside, and shot composition, which you'd say are part of the course realistically, without any kind of real designated lighting person. That also fell on my shoulders. So whilst Noah was off doing his directing bit with his actor, which was brilliantly done, might I add, it fell on me to kind of direct the assistants to get the lighting right. And we had a tight space without any electricity. It's an old fort. If memory serves, it was the 1600s. I might be completely wrong. But my role in shaping the image with such little facility will hopefully be visible in the final production.
So I think my favourite aspect of the film is the relationship between the astronaut and Anne, because that's really what the film is all about. It's these two slightly broken souls, kind of coming at odds, but obviously they are stuck together. And I just felt that was really interesting, and that kind of dynamic. I felt like there was something you could do with that.
The themes are prevalent to today as technology improves or not, as AI becomes a bigger part of our lives, and we kind of start to examine our own humanity because of that. And so I think it's a very topical film, and I think it's relevant to audiences. So I definitely would recommend they watch it. Go watch The Last Man on Earth. Not the TV show, the film made by Noah.
Would you recommend working with the director?
Please don't answer that.